Today's episode of the Know Your Gear podcast is brought to you by Patreon members, channel members, and viewers who like and subscribe. Thank you for making this possible. The Know Your Gear podcast.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the Know Your Gear podcast for August 9th, 2024. Hope everybody had a fantastic week. Let me see if I can see you guys. I can, right there. Okay, so as you guys may know, this is a live podcast where we answer questions and talk about cool subjects. If you see somebody with a blue name and a wrench, that's a moderator. They're here to help facilitate questions, post links, and also send me stuff I'm missing, which is quite a bit. And this show, as you heard, is sponsored by Patreon members and channel members. And I want to thank them for that, of course, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. All right. Why am I looking at such a weird version of that screen? There it is. It's fixed. Okay. So we have a lot of subjects, a lot of questions. We might do a Guitar of the Week. We definitely have some winners for the contest. If you guys don't know, we're running a contest for the rest of the year. It's called Show Us Your KYG whatever. So you can buy some merch and take a picture and send it to us. Links are down below. Or you can make some stuff. Like I said, we're don't feel uncomfortable. If you want to make any kind of Know Your Gear logos, we're allowing you to do that. We ask that you don't try to sell your own merch, but make it and send us a picture. And if we pick your photograph, you win a ton of different prizes. But right now we're really focusing on $200 pedals. Now, here's the cool part. If you send us a photo and we don't pick it, you're entered to win, where we're just going to give away a ton of prizes randomly to people who entered. And we're going to also, I told the moderator last week, we're going to do something cool at the end of the year, like a celebration where a bunch of prizes will be awarded again. So this is going to be ongoing. I'd like to give every single person who enters a prize, but I can't. But it's going to be a lot of you percentage-wise. So like I said, okay. It's always funny to see how a little bit of work puts on. A lot of people don't enter as much as you're like, you got to take a picture. You got to think of something interesting to send. You got to email it. It's a lot of work. So, and like I said, everything you need is down below in the links to this video. Let's get into the discussions and topics you guys have for this week. And let's see, what's the first one? The first one I saw was, hold on, let me go up to it. Into it, and it was from 251 says, congrats on the part 3 of the G&L video, love the color. So that's a great way to segue into the fact that, as you guys know, G&L is building a guitar for the channel, and this was this is like a collab video. I want you to think of it more like how, two YouTube channels collab. That's really what's going on here. This isn't like they're building me a custom guitar, and then you're just getting to see what they're building me. This is not a custom guitar. It's a production guitar, okay? The owner of G&L, he picked the colors and the ideas and presented them to me. We had a long discussion one day about how this would be an interesting idea to watch you guys or let you guys observe building a guitar from scratch. And then it comes to me and I do my deep dive video on it. It's a guitar that will be on loan to the channel, so I'll probably keep it for the deep dive and maybe a little longer after that as well. So anyways, the question that 512 had on their third video, which I thought was the best one, all of them are great. These are fantastic videos. They're getting very excited about showing you guys some stuff. His question was, what were they dipping the pickups in? Why? What were they dipping the pickups in the paint can? Okay, I don't know why I'm having trouble with what and why. He says, I thought it was wax. It was wax. They were wax potting it. So in the video, there's a what usually you guys are used to seeing small pickup builders, and usually they'll have like a crock pot, and you see them dip into the crock pot of wax. Some of them have, like the Stu Mac makes a pot, just a heated pot. Some of them will heat it on a stove even, but mostly crock pots are usually, or some version of crock pot. What they have is a rectangle can that is more common to what I see in more mass productions facilities, where you could put a lot more pickups in it. That's why. I mean, they put 2 pickups in there, but I would imagine when they normally do it, when they're not just trying to illustrate to you guys what to do, I'm sure there's probably like a wire and then there's rows of pickups and they're just dropping it in that can is what I've always seen them do, and manufacturers do. But like I said, for the video, they're isolating it to one guitar. This is kind of like the start and finish of a guitar's life. How it was picked as wood, to how it was cut and crafted, to how it was painted, to how it was finished, to how it was set up, to how it was sent, and then what is the final result? How does it look, and how does it feel? So I think that's the idea of the video. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm very excited. I have a G&L ASAT or ASAT. It's a very cool guitar. I think it's one of my best sounding guitars. I don't know why. It just has this huge, full sound that's just great. And considering it's just an alder body with 2 humbuckers, it's not like it's special designed differently than anything else. It just sounds great. Okay, let's see. Mr. S says, Eastman video, Uncle Phil. Yeah, the Eastman video is coming. I have, I'm trying to think of what I'm finishing up right now. I'm finishing up the Eastman video. I'm finishing up my birthday guitar video because I got a guitar for my birthday, essentially. Finishing up, and there's one other I'm finishing up, and then a pickup video, and that's what I'm working on right now. So, as I feel like they're ready, I just launch them out. Does that make sense? So, I try to hold the schedules. Shauna definitely tries to hold me to schedules, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. I don't like the video. I show it to her, and I go, I just don't feel it, and then if I'll send it to the patrons, and maybe they like it, and then I'll let it go. Or if they don't like it, I kind of pull it back and mess with it some more. I want it to be entertaining, and I want it to be a good video. I want it to always be something I'm proud of. So I look back, I don't cringe. Let's see. Let's go to another question. I was looking for other early risers. I kind of want to break up the schedule a little bit today, if you guys don't mind. Let's have some fun. So a couple things. I'm going to do some winners now. I wait till like guitar of the week and all this stuff, but I'm going to do winners now, or maybe I'll do one winner now. Let's do the first winner now. And then I'll share, what the winner is and why. And then we're going to have some fun. So hopefully both winners are watching today because we're going to have some fun. One of them has an opportunity. See, remember, keep in mind, this contest is also for entertainment for me. Okay, so let's do the first winner. Let me go to my screen. I have notes, like why did they win and what was the interesting thing. The first winner is Susan. Susan won a amazing Nichols 1966 Fuzz Overdrive pedal. And why? Well, the picture is not only the geeky shirt, which is the geeky stuff shirt, which is cool, something I really like, as you know. But she put in her description in the email, which I absolutely love, that she teaches physics, and the geeky stuff tee is the shirt she wears when they have lab day. So the students know it's lab day when they see the geeky stuff shirt. Now, so why is that? I just loved it so much. And so the best category, why did this win in best category? It's the best way to brand Know Your Gear to a new generation, right? Either they love Lab Day. That's what I was thinking, by the way. I was trying to remember. So for Susan, maybe this will, as a teacher, let me give you some student insight, as I was a student once. I'm sure you were too, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to remember, like, Lab Day, good day or bad day? I couldn't remember. What I remember was I excited about Lab Day? So, like, if I saw the teacher wearing a shirt because I was like, Lab Day is not test day. So, I mean, if a teacher always wore a shirt that, like, was like, oh, no, it's test day, like, that's bad news. But if it was Lab Day, maybe I'd be like, oh, Lab Day's cool. So Lab Day. So like I said, I don't know. It's branding it's branding the geeky stuff, the Know Your Gear to a new generation. How they'll feel about it depends on how they feel about Lab Day. I'm hoping they love Lab Day. Let me know in the comments. You guys, let me know in the comments right now. Lab day, back in school. Lab day, good day, bad day. What was it? I kind of remember fondly thinking a lab day is a good day. I don't remember thinking like, oh no, lab day. But I just loved it. And I loved that she put that basically she wears the shirt on lab day. What a great way to to let the kids know. In my head, I also thought of like this cool idea that maybe she never told the kids, and then the kids just slowly start figuring it out. Because that's kind of funny, right? Because then that's when you picture like the kids in lunch, in the lunch line going, she wears the geeky stuff. It's lab day. And we were in first period and she was wearing a geeky stuff shirt. Like, oh, or better yet, you're like, hey, I have third period today. What did she wear the geeky stuff in the first period? You're like, you'll know. You're like, nice. So, all right. So lab day is a fun day. A lot of people saying lab day is a fun day. All right, that's great. And Susan says they did figure it out. So, well, now Susan, you won a Nichols pedal, or we're gonna play a little Vegas today, or you could keep that pedal, or you can maybe get something else. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna have some fun, but it's gonna be later. It's at the end of the show. Let's get back to topics that affect everybody besides pedals. Okay, let's go this way. I got to get used to these new screens. They're not awesome. Okay. We have Mr. S says, how do I make my Strat trem softer and slower like a Bigsby? Rockabilly and jazz, remove one of the 3 springs and loosen the screws. There's a couple, and using 9s. The strings, not super important to that. The number of springs will affect how the bridge feels, and the type of springs, because not all springs are the same. So you think of springs and you're thinking like, oh, it's the same. But here's the thing: if you really kind of look at springs, you can see that some are made of different materials. There's a different ratio of steel that's in there. There's a different thickness of the wire, because remember, it's just a wire spiraled out, right? So the wire could be thicker. And so those, and then of course they can be shorter and longer, right? What I will say is that I really love this. Let me go to, let's see. Let me see. I'm pulling it up. I'm sure right now somebody's saying in the comments. Let's go to, because this is where I got mine at. You don't have a search on this website? Come on. What? Okay, I'm accepting the cookies. Okay, there they are. All right, let me share with you. I'm at futone.com. This is where I buy my springs. They're expensive. Do you have to buy them? No, but you can learn about them here. You know what I mean? Like I told you about using the StuMac website as a point of reference for learning about tools. So you can see there's some heavy duties, there's some light duty springs. This is where I started my journey learning about what I just told you. Like, shortening the spring made a difference. Making it a thinner wire made a difference. But obviously, without spending any money, you can just play with, putting 2 versus 3. You can mess with it all kinds of ways. And I mean, that's basically how you do it. The question you basically have is, how do you get your tremolo to sound feel like more like a Bigsby? To me, that means softer, a little bit more of a softer travel when you push down on it. I would go to, if you are going to do 9s, you can go to 2 springs, and to me, it's a little softer, a little easier to. It's not as stiff and as immediate. But I think for the price, I mean, they've gone up. This was a lot easier thing to talk about when they were like $10 a set. So now that they're basically $20 for a set, do they have a variety pack? I don't think they do. Futone, somebody should tell them they need a variety pack, like so you could try them all. Like just make a deal and give us a bunch of different ones. So, but like I said, there's some that are silent, heavy duty, light duty. I would go with something that just gives you a softer feel, or like I said, adjust your springs accordingly. But that's essentially it. It's not a huge ordeal. In other words, it's not. So, Let's see. I have over the years I used to keep all the springs. I'd accumulate and I have them in these drawers. And then as I learned more about them, I learned like some springs suck, so I tossed them. Like I said, you can kind of tell the ones that are just really, to me, aggressively, they're just too stiff. It takes too much effort to move them. So, by the way, you can also mess with the how the tremolo feels by adjusting the 2-point claw distance. So sometimes I'm trying to think which way you'd want to go. Sometimes decreasing the springs and pushing it in is going to give you one feel, and then of course adding a third spring or four springs and then pulling it back is another way of doing it. I've done it so many different ways because there's so many players have so many different subtle ways of looking with it. I don't think I have a go-to solution. I sort of just kind of mess with it until I get the feel I want, and sometimes guitars are easy about it, and sometimes they kind of fight you a little bit. And maybe an interesting video. Maybe that's what you need to do. I do a video of that. There's got to be somebody who has a video where they go through all the springs. I never thought to do it. So if no one's done it, I'm going to do it. Okay, next subject question. I'm going to go to Amanda's pile of questions. She sent me robot slow-mo. It says, Philip, there's a lot of Les Paul Jr. DCs, double cuts out there made by other companies, but none by Gibson. What? But none by Gibson? Only their CS and the Rick Beato. Is that guitar simply expensive for Gibson to make now? No, it's not expensive. By no means is it an expensive guitar. The Gibson, look, when a corporation gets big, like Gibson, like Fender, a la Disney, and please don't get into any, look, just think of Disney, okay? Disney does whatever they want with the intellectual properties they have, but it's usually some kind of strategy. So when I see Disney not releasing a movie or do something, I know it's part of a strategy. Gibson and Fender at that level are doing the same thing. So if you're like, why doesn't Gibson make this guitar? Like, why does Gibson only sell this guitar on the top end? Why? And it's because there's a strategy. And if I was going to guess, and I'm just shooting from the hip, my guess is that Gibson knows that as they get into the lower price manufacturer type guitars, like a double cut, like the Les Paul Jr., okay? So think about this. The Les Paul Jr. is very easy to make, very inexpensive, okay? Which probably makes it very hard to charge good money for. Even though they find a good way to do it, it's very hard to charge really good money for that guitar. So the problem, because you have a consumer, I assume, that's like, I want the Junior, Les Paul Jr., the double cut, but I don't want to pay $3,000. And let's be honest, they're in the $3,000 game, right? They're in the like Paul Reed Smith, like Gibson, like Fender. They're in the USA's categories. They're in the high end. Let's make money guitars. And so I would imagine sitting in meetings, they're like, look, it's a lot easier to sell them as an Epiphone. There's a player. Now there's a couple players that are like, hey, I would really like the Gibson version of this. And I'm sure that's what they hear all the time. I bet you if you were to talk to, Cesar, all those guys at Gibson, they hear it all the time. Like, oh, you need to make that. You need to make it. And they go, great, we'll make it for $2,800. And then they go, no, it needs to be like $1,499. Like, nah, you can have it for $799 as an Epiphone, right? They're just not interested in low production run, low margin guitars. That's not the game they're in. They're in the, we'll make 100 if they're $20,000 a piece. We'll make, we'll make 1,000 if they're $6,000 a piece. You see what I'm saying? They're not in the game of, let's make a $1,500 guitar that doesn't move a lot of units, which is why, if you notice, they vary the $1,500 guitars quite often, like with the Les Paul Moderns. It's something new. They'll get a burst from it. They'll sell a lot of units, and then that production makes the volume, the price to cost make sense. Because, and so it's never about, and don't confuse, it's never about can you make it cheaper? Yeah, you can, but why would you? They're Gibson. There's an argument. Every time I hear the argument, look, and I see both sides. I agree with both sides. But every time I hear the argument, they're like, Gibson should not be $4,000. Like, yeah, but it also shouldn't be what? Rock bottom basement prices. I mean, that's what the off brands have to fight for, right? Like, what's the point of having a premium brand if you have to discount it to get rid of it, to move it? So that's not the game they're in. So that would be my guess. Now, keep in mind, that's all just shooting from the hip. It could be something totally else, but I really do kind of lean into my answer because, like you said, they're not expensive to make. They're not hard to make. And, so again, that's the thing. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm just reading a couple response question comments. I don't know. I need to figure out how to get like a way so that when we talk about a subject, whatever you guys are talking about, if you're talking about that subject, it goes right to the top. I mean, I do see some of it. So, Sean Brooks says, hey, how are those Asat pickups, the white ones? Did you go with humbuckers instead of stock pickups for a reason? I have no idea. So, Sean, I have no idea what pickups are in there. I saw the video. I didn't even think to look if they were the stacked humbuckers or if they were what. This is literally, you got to understand how this works. Just very, very clear. This is why I like having a podcast and discussing what I do. There's no guesswork, right? Like, what is that guy up to? I'm not up to anything. Or if I am, I'm going to tell you right now. G&L and I had a discussion a few months ago about marketing, posting. This is a very big thing for a lot of small companies. So, I have this conversation I just recently had it with a small builder that I'll be announcing soon. We're going to be doing a giveaway with one of their really amazing guitars because hey, you guys are going to win a USA-made small builder guitar. And same issue was we're talking about marketing. And here's the thing with marketing. G&L is a small company. They in my opinion, they have one large marketing issue, which is they're perceived as a much bigger company than they are, which in the 1980s mentality of things is great. Right? Fake it till you make it. Like, everybody, the real estate agent drives a Lamborghini and, has a Rolex, and that's the image you want to present. However, that's not the image they are, because then when people go, people will tell me, just like when they tell me with Kiesel, somebody will say, oh, I called customer service and I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I'm like, the customer service is one person. They were probably taking a shit. I'm sorry for the language, but I just want to illustrate the point. It's not a row of people. It's a person who's usually, in my experience, has another job. Like, I take care of customer service, I take out the trash, and I also am in charge of putting cases in boxes. Like, it's always something like that, right? I remember in 2009 when I was at the PRS factory. This is 2009 PRS factory. It was a large factory. The customer service reps, there was two of them. They both had not cell phones, but they had wireless phones on them. And when they weren't taking customer service calls, I think they were casing guitars. If you don't know what that means, is putting the guitars in cases, or they were boxing guitars, putting the cases in boxes. Whatever they were doing something until a phone call came. So why am I telling you all that? So what happened was I told G&L the smartest thing they could do is make a video and a video series showing how they build their guitars, because whether you guys realize it or not, that guitar, if you watch those three videos, you're watching a guitar being built on equipment some of that equipment was originally in the original Fender factory. It was picked by Leo Fender. I think the buffing machine is from 1976 and it was picked, or 72 or whatever, and it was picked by Leo Fender. Like, he picked it and set it up himself. So small company. And so what he said, what do you want to do? And their idea was, hey, why don't we build you a custom guitar and you can show your audience and they'll get excited for your custom guitar. And as I've always said this, no one wants to watch some YouTuber get a free guitar. It's my least favorite thing to make content about. I have a lot of nice guitars. I know you're all like, hey, another guitar is great. It is. It's very nice. However, I have a lot of nice guitars. So, and obviously when I started my channel, I had a store, had a lot of nice guitars then too. I'm really more interested in the content. So what I came up with, I said, why don't you pick a guitar, which he picked. So that's why obviously I wouldn't have picked another ASAT. I would have picked like a Doheny or something different if I was going to, just want a free guitar to have a video. But I was like, what guitar excites you? And he was most excited about that guitar. And I said, tell me why. And he said, I just think our pickups are unique. I think that guitar has a sound that's unique and powerful. It's not quite P90. It's not quite the Jazzmaster. It's something in between. It's got the Telly vibe. I said, that's really cool. I go, what's your favorite color? He goes, I love purple. I'm like, okay, make it, let's build it. So he built the guitar. I said, you film, because that's the hard part for them is filming all that. Film all that, edit all that. And then the deal is, like I said, they send it to me and I do my video. And then I'll probably keep it until I think our hope is that the video series does so well that and you guys like their series and my series combined, that then maybe we'll do another collaboration and then we'll send that guitar back and they'll make another one. And that's how it works. So Sean, that's the deal. I'm excited. I know nothing about the guitar other than I got a text message from him this morning. Hold on. Let's just make sure I'm correct. Yeah, I got it from this morning. Say the guitar should be here today. So the guitar should be here today. So if my phone chimes, actually, hold on, let me make sure it didn't. Okay, so my phone chimes while we're talking, that means the guitar's here. Okay, let me grab that one. So Sean, we'll be discovering it together. I'll be doing the deep dive on it and the whole 9 yards, and that's, but a great question. I don't know. But I like you guys to know the whys of why we're doing something. I really think this is, I love those videos, by the way. I love their videos. I don't know how I'm going to make a cool video compared to those. Let's see. All right, John wants to know, hey, is Badlands still a company, ? I know you separated yourself from them, but I don't see anything about them anywhere now. They weren't my thing personally, but I'm just curious. Yeah, I don't know. So let me start with I don't knows. Here's what I don't know. So I'll tell you what I do know and what I don't know, and we'll keep it to that as we always do on the show. I do know that they are supposed to be finishing up the last of the hollow flashes. I have been interacting with many people who have purchased a hollow flash and talking to them as they've been getting their hollow flashes. They've been keeping me updated, to make sure that they get their hollow flashes. My understanding from a few that do not have their hollow flashes is that they believe or were informed they'll be getting their last of those guitars by the end of August, which is what I told everybody was going to take a year, including the Badlands folks. I was like, there's no way it's going to get done in less than a year. And I think, I like I said the other day when I was talking to some friends, I hate being right about this, but I was right about it. It's going to be at least a year from when it started. However, they're kind of absent. I have no idea why. I don't know what they're doing or what they're doing. So that's the answer. So the question is, are they still a company? Well, they're still finishing the hollow flashes. So, because obviously I'm very in tune with making sure everybody gets the guitar they were promised. So that's all I've been focused on. And so I can tell you once that's done, then I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they don't communicate with the customer base. That was one of my complaints, as you guys know. There is supposed to be, I'll still say this, there's supposed to be a person who receives a good chunk of the money that they make as a partner, and that person's in charge of social media. So I'm going to assume that, like you are, because I've seen no social media, I don't know what's going on with them, but there was a person in charge of social media. So I would reach out. If you're curious, John, here's what I would tell you. Just reach out to them. This is what I do know from customers who have got their hollow flashes waiting, is that they are still pretty prompt at responding to any customer inquiries, which is what I would expect to continue on. Daryl says he just got his hollow flash a couple weeks ago, and it's a great guitar. Everybody so far has been either happy with the guitar or whatever issue they had with the guitar was resolved by Badlands, as should be the case, as Badlands seems to hold true to, which is trying to always make sure the customer's taken care of. So, like I said, my issue was not with how the customers were treated with Badlands in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so let's see. We have something else. We have more. lots more questions. Subjects. Let's get into some fun. Dr. Frankenstein says, I have a Lara V with narrow frets. Can I replace them with larger size frets without messing it up? You have two problems. One, well, you have an easy part and a hard part. The easy part is wider frets are always easier to replace than narrow frets, and larger frets are always easier because, of course, they're going to cover up a little bit of anything that you might have a problem with. In other words, it's a lot harder to yank out jumbo frets and put narrow frets on. It can be done. You just have to do more sanding and making sure that the fretboard looks nice, because you might see the edge of the old frets depressed in there if you don't take care of that. So putting in larger frets is easier than to put on smaller frets. However, acoustic guitars, you will have to make some intonation adjustments, because when you put larger frets on acoustic, you are taking a large chance that there is going to be an adjustment to the intonation that will have to be taken care of by a new nut and a new saddle on the bridge. Shouldn't be much more than that. So I just want you to be aware that that's the workload you have ahead of you. It's not just you're going to be refretting the guitar. You will definitely be either putting on or cutting a new saddle at the very least, is my guess. But other than that, hard, I don't know what the words are. Is it hard? Is it difficult? It's not that it's hard or difficult. It's hard or difficult. It's just work. It's just work. You just got work ahead of you, which is good. Pedal Pal Effects, what's up, guys? Love Pedal Pal. Says, hey, Philip, happy Friday. What, in your opinion, is the best amp and IR cab simulation pedal at this moment to use with analog pedals in recording to PC? My absolutely UA stuff. The Lion, the 65, Dream, whatever 65. The UA stuff's my favorite. For an amp pedal with IRs, absolutely my favorite pedals to go. And I know you say pedal, and then I think, well, are we including Axe effects and all that stuff? I mean, but I'm saying pedal. I'm not thinking modeler or stuff like that. I'm thinking a single pedal. I think UA. I'm a huge UA fan, so the UA reverb pedal is one of my favorite pedals. All the UA stuff is amazing. I have no idea why I don't own it. I have no idea. I think about it quite often. It's one of those things. Like I said, the Deluxe Reverb is one of my favorite amps in the world, and I don't have the UA Dream pedal, which is weird, considering I think it's amazing. And the Lion pedal, I love Marshalls, but those are my favorites. And the reason I say they're my favorites is they're ones I like the most that I played through. And if I'm going to buy one right now, that's the ones I'm going to buy. Is those. I would definitely buy those. The Vox one, I don't think I've played the Vox one. I don't remember it. I know I tried the Dream one at Sweetwater and the Lion one just recently. But either way, those are my faves. And I don't think they're crazy expensive, although that, the term expensive and cheap is relative, of course, but I just don't think of it as over the top pricey for what they are. It's a lot of tech in there, and they're built really well. Yes, Susan says UA equals universal audio. Yep. And just like my aux, I've said this before. The aux is one of those things. I've never seen a product like the aux explained so many times by so many different people the same way. Which is, I will say this to you. I don't know why I like the aux box, but I do. That's it. And I keep hearing other people, musicians, YouTubers say the same thing. They use it all the time. They love it. Don't know why. In other words, when I say don't know why, I mean, there are, like I said, I think 2 notes is maybe better and cheaper. When I say better, like quality, but I say quality in like the components, or not components, I'm sorry, like features, right? 2 notes gives you more features, more options. It's less money. In fact, my analogy that I use, which will put some of you off and make some of you happy, and then the rest of you will throw fits on the internet because that's what it always happens. I think of universal audio like Apple, right? I don't know why, but for some reason Apple is easy and it works and it's good. And some people hate it because like I said, somebody likes to build their own computers. If you like to build everything from scratch yourself, I would definitely go 2-note stuff. If you like just plug and play because it sounds good and it's easy, that's Universal Audio. So that's how I look at it. Like, I don't know. That's my analogy. That's it. And it's crazy expensive for the aux, but it's worth it. So worth it. Is it my favorite piece of gear? I think I saw Mary Spender say it's her absolute favorite piece of gear ever on a video. And I was watching it going, yeah, it's mine too. Like it's mine, And by the way, Universal Audio did not give me my aux. So I wish they did. But they didn't. Now, what's great is I did work out a deal, so I didn't have to basically pay the full boat for it. But still, it was not cheap when it comes to the time and effort put into it. But yeah, those would be the pedals I like. And I'm hoping from this conversation I don't end up buying one. All right. Let's see. Next we have GM, like the car company. Just wow, and a huge super chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good Friday to all. So glad to be able to catch the live since I'm always working. I would imagine so, because thank you for the huge super chat. Also, new guitar day, Yamaha Revstar RSS20. It's a great guitar, all black. It's heavy though. Best wishes to all. Happy belated birthday. Yeah, thank you for the birthday wish as well. Yeah, the Revstar stuff, like the one I had was relatively not heavy, but for guitars that are supposed to be chambered, they're heavy. This is a problem that happens with chambered guitars. Is a lot of times, you're like, oh, it's chambered, it's gonna be light. Sometimes manufacturers pick the heaviest pieces of wood and then chamber those. It's just a lot easier because otherwise they're shipping out like 12-pound guitars. So they take the guitars that would be 12 pounds, they chamber them, and then they go out as 8-9 pounders. That could have happen there. But yeah, I assumed it would be lighter than it was, and mine wasn't super light either, but it wasn't heavy. Litvey, what's up, Litvey? Let me take a drink of water. Or vodka, I don't even know what this is anymore. Just kidding, no. It says, any chance I can get you to make me a single bridge soap P90 for my Korean PRS SE1? The original has a hot one, is hot as hell and unresponsive to the volume. The answer is yes. So single pickups, I usually do everything in sets, and there's a reason why. It's because I like to make a bunch and then match them up and then put them together, and it's just the way I prefer to do things because I feel like it's match sets is something it's a lost art form. And I told you the original Northern Lights pickups, the original ones that my friend made that weren't called that. They were a match set, and I just loved them, and I think that was part of the magic. So sometimes match sets are part of the magic I like in pickups. But when it comes to single pickup like that, the easiest way to do it, Litvey, is always just email us. You just get Shauna. So you either go to mgclessons@gmail.com, that will take you right to her, or askknowyourgear@gmail.com, also takes you to her. Also, all Blackstock, if you go to the Blackstock website, all Blackstock links take you right to her. And then she reads them to me, and then we deal from there. But she'll usually make the decision way before that. She'll just say, oh yeah, I'll have Phil wire up a single coil, and then it goes on. We have phones like everybody, and then I get a little, I don't know what you call it, like a little notification on my calendar. It says, please wind one soap bar this way for so and so, and then it says, please have done by, and then it gives me a complete date, like a Monday or something like that, and I just do it. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, why do you guys do that? I'm like, I know we're married, but you gotta understand. Otherwise, all your talk at the breakfast table is this. So that's how we communicate. But yeah, it can be done. Not a problem at all. I think it's just half the price of whatever their two is. That's how it works. Miserable Turd says, can you answer my $10 question from last week? I can't. No, I can't. Let's look at it. Watch this. Let's see if we can find it. So I'll scroll back. So there is no question. So last week, I got for your first of many birthday beers. And then, oh, okay. Oh, it came in right towards the end. So that's how I missed it. I apologize. It says, have you tried the Fender Super Reverb Tonemaster? I thought I answered this. I'm warming up my wife to make an extra present. I absolutely love it. It's Super Reverb Tonemaster. It's definitely, look, the Super Reverb Tone Master amplifier would be an amplifier I would own right now. So, that's my Deluxe Reverb Tone Master right there I'm pointing at. I would own that right now, but my gut told me they were going to do a Bassman 59, 59 Bassman. And that was just the one I have to own, it's kind of like, can't have everything. So I'm like, that's the amp I want to own. So that's the only reason I held off. But absolutely, that amp is fantastic. I mean, think about this. I used to have a real Fender Super Reverb, and when I remember, I'm 6 foot tall. This is what I always laugh about the Fender Super Reverb is because of its height. It's like I can reach down and grab the handle standing up perfectly, and I just have to pull this way and just lean in a little bit. And when I lift up, when I stand straight, it's like 3 inches off the ground, something like that, 2 inches off the ground. And it's like, it's so heavy, man. It's so heavy. I just hated carrying it. It's because I want to lift up. If you hold it up, then you can go a further distance. And it always was like a pain in the ass. And that was the thing. That was the only thing I hate about the Fender Super Reverb was it was so heavy. But I had a Fender Twin, and the Twin was heavy. In fact, I think the Super Reverb might be a little heavier than the Twin just because it has 4 magnets instead of 2. But if not, they're about the same weight. I want to say 70 to 80 pounds. Feels like 100 and something, And then now that they have on the weights online, you're like, oh, it's 80 pounds. You're like, what is wrong with me? Like I think a tanker bar was 40 pounds. But anyways, the funny part was the Super Reverb, like I said, because it's taller, it's harder for me to pick up and carry. So the Tone Master is the way to go. It's lighter, sounds great. The Tone Masters sound great. Like I said, my only complaint about them is they're expensive. And I just think they shouldn't be as expensive as they are. And I know everybody says that about everything, but I just think that the Tone Master series is not priced on what it costs them to get it to market. It's priced at basically what it compares to the real ones. And I don't think that's a fair assessment, of doing it. But who knows? Okay. We have Clan of House Cats. It says Gojira performing at the Olympics was amazing. Nice surprise that you enjoyed Joe's Fortitude DiMarzio. The Fortitude is probably second favorite DiMarzio pickup ever made. I don't know how to place it like that. Just let me put it this way. I have a Fortitude, in like 3 or 4 different guitars. I was going to say almost all my guitars. Not really quite, but it's like 3 or 4 guitars. Do I have one in right here? I don't think there's one in these, but I have a lot of guitars with a Fortitude in it. Okay, let's keep going. I'm getting sidetracked here. He says, I have one in my 68 reissue Les Paul Custom. It's a fantastic pickup. One of the things that makes the Fortitude fantastic is it's a little hotter than a PAF, which, as you know from the Northern Lights, is my go-to sound. It's just the PAF with just a little push. But what I love about the Fortitude that's ingenious, what DiMarzio did, is they made the screws really large. So if you look at the bottom of your Fortitude pickups, instead of the standard screws size, these are much thicker by double. And so the thicker screws change the magnetic field a little bit. And it gives it a little bit more of a way it probably handles that low end frequency that, for the high gain is which to me is not really what I'm after, but I'm after a clarity and percussiveness, so that way I always like to try to get as much bass out of my amp as possible without losing the definition. And so sometimes a pickup can help facilitate that. To me, people talk about speakers, very important, but sometimes you can really kind of coax out the low end frequency with a nice cabinet, the cabinet design in the room, and the type of pickup without having to run the controls on the amp. Because like I said, although everybody says that you can EQ an amp, the reality is as you adjust the EQ, you sometimes just destroy the distortion and how clear or defined it becomes. So I love that pickup, absolutely. The performance of Olympics was nice for me is I'm not into sports. I'm not into anything. Okay, so that's it. Like guitar stuff, when it comes to stuff I watch stand-up comedy like crazy. And then, and any comedians talking about anything. I watch every podcast with comedians talking about comedy at all times. And then I watch anything that's music related. Music and comedy is like literally like, that's like, that's the entertainment diet for pretty much everything. But of course, I saw what a lot of people saw. If you're not into Gojira, I saw the Olympics thing, the castle, and there's fire. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I saw it, and I was like, oh, it's Gojira. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I go, it's kind of those funny things. I'll tell you, Clan of House Cats, because I happen to know you're a younger guy. I got your picture with the 2 stands. It's in the category thing we got. So we'll see what happens. But as an older guy, it's funny to me when you see things like that now. What I see is I'm trying not to laugh. Okay, I'm going to laugh. I'm sorry, guys. I can't keep my composure with the Gojira thing. It's funny to me to see things like that, knowing that when I was a kid, we saw things like that, and yet now it's supposed to be like edgy. You're right. So to me, it was a great performance. It was a great show. I know a lot of people reacted negative to me. I think I told the story once before. I got to tell it again. This is a long time ago. I once had to take my daughter to school. It was like elementary school. And the girl at the desk, the lady at the desk, it was a girl because she was like way younger. But you know what I mean. Young lady at the desk had a pierced nose and a pierced lip and a pierced ear. And my first reaction was like, at school? Like, is that appropriate for school? No, by the way, I didn't say that. By the way, I'm not saying anything. I'm just signing in my daughter thinking, yes, what's going on here? And then it hit me. I'm like, you know what? Every kid I went to high school had that. Like, it's not even a thing. Why am I even reacting to it? It's the George Carlin joke. He goes, hey, you used to do it to piss off the squares, and now the squares do it. He was talking about pierced ears. He's like, you used to pierce your ear to piss off the squares, and now the squares pierce the ear. So my point, Clan House Cats, was I thought the show was amazing. I know it caused some internet drama out there, as things do, but I just was like, I think maybe because it was connected to the Olympics, but as a show, I thought it was fantastic. I thought the band did great. I like that I saw, did you see that they had the harnesses clipping them, so they don't fall off the side of the castle? I'm like, that's probably important, right? I was like, that's pretty cool. But loved it. And I loved both things about it. I love that people loved it. I love that it pissed people off. Ultimately, I'm like, I've seen crazier a lot longer ago. So it wasn't enough to make me, there you go. Gas Addict says, who is Gojira? Well, look them up. It's tough to say. They're a newer metal band, you know what I mean? But they've been around for a while. For a while. Great stuff, like I said. Okay, so as I get out of... So you guys know what's happening to me. I'm going to have to solve it, but it just happened. So I use Safari. I'm just going to tell you. I use Safari to run the website. Not the website. Yeah, the website, YouTube. So when you guys are looking at comments, I'm looking at your comments. I'm looking through Safari. I'm not sure what happened in my settings, but all of a sudden Safari won't let me see pictures on Reverb, and now it won't let me see the comment section in Safari. So I have to open it in Chrome. And of course, because I have an Apple product, when I open up Chrome, Apple tells me like, oh, your stuff's not protected if you're in Chrome. So now, just to make today's show work, I have to watch your comments in Chrome and then go back to Safari where I have the main screen. So that's where I'm toggling. So I'm just letting you know, I will solve it by tomorrow, figure out what's going on. Something got clicked or there's an update that changed something, and either way I'll fix it. Missouri in P says, did Phil answer if he's ever lost a guitar pick? I sent a secure chat last month, but didn't hear the reply. Have I ever lost a guitar pick? I have never lost a single guitar pick ever. You know why? It's only lost if you don't know where it is. And I actually know where every single guitar pick I ever got is. And it's in the lint tray in the dryer. And so I just don't go get them. But that is where they all are. So, all my left socks and all my guitar picks are in the dryer. So there you go. That's the answer to your question. And if you're missing any guitar picks, go check your lint tray in your dryer. And if you can't find them, well, then find me and check the lint tray in my dryer. And then you'll probably find your picks as well, because all of your picks are in my lint tray in my dryer. Then we're going to jump to Alex. Alex says, hey, I got a used $360 Squier Telly custom. Amazed by the quality of budget guitars now. Sure. Well, because they're made the same way as high-end guitars, just with less hand time and less expensive components. Can you explain to the kiddos what budget guitars were like 25 years ago? Yes, I can. 25 years ago. God, just 20 years ago. But yeah, 25 years ago. What were budget guitars like 25 years ago? Let's back that up so we don't go into 25 years ago is 1999. And budget guitars in 1999 were actually still pretty good. So in 1999, you could get a pretty decent budget guitar, a Schecter, because back then that was still in the framework of that. But I understand what you mean. Further back than that, yes, budget guitars used to be pretty bad. They used to be basically, think about this. Think about the worst guitars you can get now, like a glary guitar. A glary guitar is essentially what may actually still a little better, but what budget guitars were like that you had to pay real money for 30, 35, 40 years ago. It's pretty bad. So bad. And then they got better at it. And what they really got better at, well, first of all, the technology caught up. So like I said, the Haas CNC machines that they use at Kiesel or they use at, Maxim Guitar Works or, whatever they're using at PRS, those machines are also at Cortec, and those are also in some of the inexpensive factories in China and in Indonesia. So, first of all, the technology is there. And then obviously they all go to uniform parts. What I mean by that is it used to be, this is really what changed. So, actually, Alex, this is probably the part you want me to tell the kiddos. That's the kids, so to speak, the younger audience members that has really changed that you may not be aware of. What really has changed is not just overseas, because there's always been overseas. There's always been that to some degree. What really changed was manufacturers that make good guitars used to make more of the guitar in that facility. So, for instance, Peavey would make its bodies, its necks, its bridges. It would cast them. It would make their own bridges, and it would make their own pickups, and they would make their own tuning keys. They would manufacture every component besides the fret wire that was still probably bought by, they probably purchased that from Dunlop. So essentially they were building, let's say 90% of the instrument. Fender also had machines stamping out bridge plates, stamping out output jack plates. So essentially, again, building a huge percentage of the guitar. So for a cheap guitar manufacturer to make a good guitar, they would have to cut the bodies, have to cut the necks. Now, of course, we're talking about anything before when Hartley Peavey started, CNC guitars. Everything was going to be cut basically by hand or on a jig. But more importantly, they would have to find, source, or build their bridges, tuning keys, and it was very expensive to make the dies. I'm sorry, I don't want to say die cut. Sorry, the dies and the stuff to make those components, like I said, or the machining it would take, or the presses. These are massive, expensive machines, so they just couldn't do it. So they would source their parts from cheap manufacturers who did just make bridges or just make tuners, and they would make them really cheap. And so you would get a guitar and all the components on it was garbage. The pickups were kind of garbage. The bridge was cheap. Everything was as cheap as they could get. And what really changed is at some point, the manufacturers, the good ones, slowly started sourcing out their parts to the point where, like I said, I don't know of a U.S. manufacturer. I want to exclude, we're only talking electric guitars. I want to exclude Rickenbacker for some reason because I just don't remember. But I don't know of a U.S. manufacturer right now making its own tuning keys. I don't think there's a single one. Fender, I think, is made by Ping, right? Gibson is Grover and Cluson. Paul Reed Smith is Hipshot, right? If you go through, it's going to, like I said, no one's really manufacturing a tuning key. Now, then when you get to bridges, it gets even pretty more as dire, not as the same, but it gets pretty dire. The manufacturers making their own bridges. Like I said, if you tour, I'd say 9 out of 10 factories in the U.S. building guitars, 9 what I'm saying is if you were to tour every factory in the U.S., factory, not little shops, factory, I would say 9 out of 10 don't even have a metal shop. They're not even manufacturing. There's no machine shop. They're not machining anything anymore. They're buying all that stuff external, which makes it easy for the cheap guys because they can just do it too. They can get all those components as well, and then they get the copies of those components. So that's how they were able to really cost-savingly move the needle fast, right? Because those, tuning keys, it was, so we're talking about 25 years ago? 25 years ago, to answer your question, or to answer your statement question, 25 years ago, it was tuning keys, pickups, and bridge were probably the most expensive part of manufacturing an inexpensive guitar, because a piece of wood, you can just cut out a body. I mean, you can make a guitar think about this, you can make a guitar in your garage. You don't even need special tools. I mean, if you got a saw, right, a file, just a really coarse file, some sandpaper, I mean, you can pretty much work out the body and neck, and make a rudimentary kind of guitar out of it. I mean, tons of guitars are just made. Brian May and his father made their guitar out of a small shop. They didn't have like a huge commercial shop or anything. So you can make a guitar pretty much in your garage. And then when you get to tuning keys, pickups, and bridge is where it's going to really slow you down, because you're going to need something. You're going to need some way to manufacture those or build those. So essentially, that's the biggest change. Besides the labor, I mean, obviously going overseas for cheaper labor and all that stuff is huge, and not having to pay workman's comp and not having to pay, the EPA and all that stuff. But I mean, just the availability, the easiness of doing it. It's so easy. I mean, 25 years ago, I don't remember. No, I know, because think of this, 25 years ago, I was building basses. 25 years ago, could not buy a set of bass tuning keys for $20. 25 years ago, I couldn't. There's no way. At any kind. Not even cheap, junky ones. There was no way. There's no way. So now you can go on Amazon and get a decent set of tuning keys for $20. It's crazy. So that's a huge change. So that's what I said. As companies, outsource the magic, it makes it easier for people to copy it. Randy says, 50 years ago, I was not alive, barely. So I have no idea. Okay. All right. Let's, next subject, topic. Where are we at? You know what we'll do? I know what we're going to do. Guess what we're going to do?
Now it's time for Guitar of the Week.
All right, let's do Guitar of the Week. So Guitar of the Week this week's a fun one because, I'm trying to make Guitar of the Week something different, not like a review or anything like that, just something fun, and tell a story about a guitar or explain a reason for a guitar. Today's guitar is an oldie but goodie, but I want to explain what it is that's important to me about the guitar, and then we'll do another winner, by the way. So today's guitar is this beautiful Irish Spring block of... I want to call this guitar Irish Spring. Yeah, it looks like a block of soap, right? The Irish Spring soap. Anyways, this is a American Standard Telly. So this is before the Professionals and Professional 2 Series. This is a 2016. I bought it in 2016. It was a limited run. It came with a matching painted headstock. We'll get into that in a second. Rosewood fretboard. And originally it had I think it had the bent saddles on it. It didn't have the, the brass saddles. It had bent saddles, and I switched the bridge to blocks because I like that better. So there you go. And then I swapped out the pickups. Now, originally I swapped the pickups to BG 1400s. That's the Billy Gibbons 1400 set, which is a custom shop Seymour Duncan set, which is stacked humbucker. They're stacked. So it's a stacked bridge, stacked neck. So they're humbuckers. Then I took them out after a couple years and I put in Lindy Fralin Telly pickups. And then after about 2 years of that, I decided I wanted to try the Billy Gibbons 1400s again. I put them back, and that's what's back in there. So these have been in there for the last year or so. So these are the BG 1400s. And then the original three-way switch, the original volume knob, which is a 250K, original tone control, but I did switch it to an orange drop cap No real reason why. I was just in there and I have a ton of them. Thought I'd do it. The importance of this guitar is it does have the belly carve, which is cool. It does not have the arm carve, which would be, cool as well. This is not surf green. Everyone says it's surf green. It's not. It is seafoam green. And unfortunately, I don't have a camera that can pick the color. This color, if you saw it in person, just think of it more aqua bluish. The cameras, as you know, they just grab the color that that they can grab closest, and for some reason it's like a mint green. So it looks mint, but this is actual seafoam green, which has got more of a blue hue into it, but it's fine. It looks great the way it is in this picture. This is light. I want to say 7 pounds, 2 ounces, something like that. I don't know. It's light. I bought this for, I want to say $1,400 new. You know what I want to do? If you don't mind, if you're curious, I bought it off Reverb, off a retailer. I just don't know how far Reverb's purchase history is. So let me see if I can look. If I can go back. What year does it go back? Oh, 2000. There it is. Oh, I found it. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to share it with you guys. Give me a second. That's awesome. I thought, I'm like, this isn't going to work. Okay, let me go here. Pull here. As we've discussed, if I pull it up in Safari, it won't pull the pictures up, so I got to go over to Chrome. Just living the dream. Okay, this is it. Let's go to it. You guys are going to see. This is the original listing. This is where I purchased it. I was right. $1,399 is what I paid for it. I might have got a deal. I will double check. Limited edition American Standard Telecaster Rosewood Seafoam Green. See, even in their picture, that looks surf green, right? But I got it. It was really blue. Yes, so I was right. Look at that. So the original saddles. There. Can you guys see that? The original saddles were the bent saddles. And then it had special pickups in it. I don't remember what was, well, because it's listed. Let's look. Limited edition, right? Alder body, polyurethane C-shaped neck, satin urethane back, 9.5-inch fretboard, 22 medium jumbo frets, synthetic bone, yada, yada, yada. Pickups, American Vintage 58 single coil Tele neck and bridge. I absolutely hated the pickups in this guitar. If you have those pickups and you like it, please don't get like, what? He's in it. Look, they were just so bright. They were ice picking my ears like crazy. I couldn't take it anymore. I don't know what it was about this guitar. And so this guitar, for some reason, just has a brighter sound to it. So came with ABS case, which of course I got rid of because I don't keep cases. Somebody, by the way, I did a quick little video of the Paul Reed Smith case that fits multiple guitars. And they're like, yeah, but you don't like cases. I'm like, well, I do have to have a few cases. And what I did was I gave away a ton of my cases and just kept the one multi-case because it was just one case instead of. So does it say? It does. I paid. Oh, you guys. Oh, no. You're going to hate this. 2016. My heart's sinking a little bit. Okay, ready? So they were asking $13.99 for the guitar. And let's see if I can show you guys. Because it's like showing my credit card information. Okay, everybody get your pen out. Okay, go back to it. Here it is. There it is. I have to do a half screen. So I paid $1,260. Remember? No tax. There was no sales tax in 2016. So what is that, right? So $1,400. Oh, that makes sense. So I 10% off. So 10% off took it from $1,400 to $1,260, and then you didn't pay sales tax because back then you didn't pay sales tax. Talk about telling the kids something. Back then you didn't pay sales tax on the internet. Oh my goodness. God, I hate talking about that. So $1,260. So it's done really well since then. Let's go. Let me pull up you guys so I know what you're doing. Okay, so let me show you the guitar. So first of all, I'm just going to tell you, I'm plugged into my Fender Princeton, a 112 cabinet with a creamback Celestion, and it's mic'd up. And I'm going to run my enhancifier pedal that why I love it. And then I do have the Nickel 66 overdrive fuzz pedal in the pedal board, and I have a looper and I have a delay pedal. It's the Atlantic Nux delay, NUX delay. And I'm going to show you guys why this guitar is so special to me First, let me go to the other view, and I got to move my chair. Try not to mess this up. You guys know the drill. Okay, so I want to do Guitar of the Week not just to go, look what I got. It's not about that. It's about why does this guitar last? I mean, for instance, like I said, I bought it in 2016, so you're doing the math on there. I've had it 8 years. 8 years is a long time to have a guitar. Obviously, I could have owned a ton of different Tellys and got rid of this, and instead I kept it. And there's a reason why I kept it. This guitar's magic is in the middle position. So first, let me go to the neck, and I'll play for you a little bit. Just let me play a second, and then we'll talk about the magic and why it's magic. Here's the neck. Been a while. I've been playing a lot of tremolo guitars lately. Okay, so that's the neck. The bridge in the clean position. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. All right, cool. Let me do this real quick. I just want to make sure. Trying to figure out why you guys are getting that screen and not me. Guitar view. Huh. Sounds great. Sounds like a Telly. Yeah, why are all of a sudden you guys only seeing the KYG logo? Oh, there it is. You guys do see it. Okay. And I hate this new system. All right, let's go back to my main screen, guitar view. Okay, let's talk about the magic. All right, so the magic is the middle position. Okay, I absolutely love that. So let me show you why I use it. Okay, so I'm going to use the middle position. I'm going to show you how I loop it. And I'll use the Nichols 1966 overdrive as the lead part. So let's do the loop. It goes like this. So you guys get the sense of it. I just like how I don't have to change pickups. So you notice I don't have to go to the bridge to get the overdrive. I can just get the overdrive on the middle. So that is my 2016. Gotta move my chair again. Gotta figure out how to not have to move the chair. That's the next thing I gotta figure out. Let me go here to where you guys are. And man, it's just a great guitar. It's just really, to me, it stood the test of time with me. I find myself always going to it. Besides how cool it is, I once mentioned on a video that if I ever was to retire one day and go to a tropical island, this would be the guitar I would take. Just be playing some Jimmy Buffett in a jam band and just having fun. But great guitar. I love it to this day as much as I did when I first got it. And I just love that middle position. I don't know what it is. This guitar and those pickups, they just came together. And that's what I love about stuff like this, is just that discussion, because it's not just the guitar, it's those pickups and the guitar. I bought the guitar because of the way it looked. I didn't love the way it sounded. I stuck these pickups in it. I was super happy, but I kept thinking, yeah, but they're humbuckers. I need something more traditional. So then I put in the Lindy Frailins, which were great. And it was a little on the bright side with the Lindys, and I found myself back to the BG 1400s, which are the Billy Gibbons 1400s. So I love that. So now what I want to do for fun is pick the second winner. So let me go to my notes and find the screen for the second winner. And I'll show you the winner, and then I'll tell you what they won. Well, they're winning I don't know. Maybe they're winning a Nichols 1966 overdrive reverb, or overdrive fuzz, not reverb. And, or maybe it's going to get crazy in a minute. We're going to see how crazy it's going to get. All right, ready? The next winner is Adam. Adam, he won. So congratulations to Adam. If you notice here, he's got a picture of a cat with a tie, because it's a very professional cat, and it's got a Know Your Gear cardboard cutout that he made. I assume he made it. If that cat made it, he definitely should win. And of course, instead of people, it's cats, because that makes sense, because why would the cat have a cutout of people? Now, why did Adam win? Well, I'm gonna tell you what the best category, this one. And I'm gonna read it to you right now. It's best way. I have no idea. Shauna just picked this because women's prerogative. That's right. I'm not making that up. Well, I am making that up. He won best way. I have no idea, because Shauna just picked it because women's prerogative. Shauna picked it. She liked it, and that was the end of that. And then that's how Adam, that's how you won, man. I literally have that's it. That's all you get. Here's where it gets fun. It's gonna get fun. Either way, Adam, you're getting a $200 Nichols 1966 fuzz overdrive. Susan, either way, today you're getting a Nichols 1966 overdrive. However, the very first one of you two to email me at askknowyourgear@gmail.com. Okay. So and normally Brian does this, and he's probably doing it right now because he's really fast. Hold on. There. I just put it there. All right. First one to email me before the end of this show. Well, we know Susan's already here, so the question is Adam here? What happens? What happens if they email me at that email address? Well, first of all, I should probably pull it up. So I pulled it up. I hope you guys are in suspense, because I thought this was fun as hell. So we're just going to have fun. Okay, ready? Oh, yep, I have nobody. Okay, first one to email me that they're live on the show watching. I don't care what you email. You just say, hi Phil. By the way, it was Susan. So you guys know. Look, it's Susan. What did Susan win? Susan just had hi Phil. All right, Adam, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know if it was fair, so you know. So Adam, if you're watching the show live, I'll hook you up with something. If you're live, you got to email me too while you're live. So if you see this on the rebroadcast, you want a $200 pedal. You're, and some stickers and some pics. That's great. Susan, you get to choose, and you get to tell me, you got to email me before the end, because that's the key. You get to choose, right? To take the Nichols 1966 pedal or trade me. Yeah, that's right. We're going to trade. Here's the trade. I will trade you what's in this box. This is like, I've seen some stupid TikTok jerk do this stuff. Oh, you want $50 or you want this box? Susan, you have to tell us by the end of the show. This is the box. Okay, now, so you know, I have no idea why I'm signing my name like this. Okay, there's my name. 4:18 p.m. There it is. Front of the box, I'm putting side of the box. I just want you to see what question mark. There it is. Okay, you can win what's in this box. Now, here's what's best part. If you decide to pick what's in this box, you get what's in the box. If you decide to take your pedal, you get your pedal. And that's the answer. Okay, and Susan is live and watching. Okay, she's live and watching. Okay, so Susan, you have to decide. No judgment. Okay, so, but until you tell me, you got to tell me by the end of the show. Do you want what's in the box, or do you want the Nichols 1966 Overdrive? Okay. Now here's the important part. This is mine. So you can have this. This is something of mine. It's not like another company gave me another prize. You're going to get another prize. You just get something that I have that I'm like, I don't. Maybe I want to trade or give it away. So there you go. Yeah. I know a lot of you guys are like, I don't know if it'd have a negative twist. So I know she's like, Okay. So the great part is we don't have to dwell on this. If Susan emails me, then she does. You can think about it, Susan. And I don't know if you want a hint. I don't want to do hints. I don't want to take too much time on this. I just wanted to make this fun. This is a what do you call it? This is just like I said, 418. This is the box. I'm trying. Here's what I'll do, so you guys know. Look at that. See, the box is in frame. You can see it right there. It's not leaving frame, so you guys know I didn't change anything out. Who knows? Maybe it's $50. Maybe I'm trying to buy your Nichols pedal for $50. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay, so there you go. So we'll have an answer. But either way, you got to tell us, Susan. You got to please you can think about all you want in the show, but you got to tell us by the end of the show, yes or no on the trade, and then we'll all see what you got. All right, let's get back to the actual show. And like this is when this Know Your Gear is like a game show. It's like a podcast. It's really it's everything at this point. It's just chaos. The worst part of this. Okay, now I was gonna say. Okay, all right. All right. Next one is from Libertine19. Says, any advice about what to look for? Check test when shopping for a used tube amp. Looking at a Mesa Mark V combos. Thanks. What to look for in test? Well, they're a little tough because tube amps sometimes are, they can work fine for 15, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and then they have an issue. You can test the tubes. There's a chopstick test. I have the video on that. You use a wooden chopstick and you basically tap on the tubes while the amp's on. And if you hear anything rattling or any issues coming through the tubes, you have a bad tube. I always say this, when it comes to buying good quality merchandise, definitely go to good quality sellers. And I know you're buying from a reseller, but try to buy from somebody reputable, whether it's a store you can return it to or somebody that if you go on Reverb, somebody with really good feedback that says they're not going to try to pass off some junk to you. That's the main things. I'm not an amp tech, so it's like I have videos where I show you what to look for in guitars because that's where I would say my expertise lies. You could also look for those same type of videos from amp techs that on YouTube where they say, please check these things. Buying used amps, I mostly focus on visual appearance. Obviously, they take care of the outside. They probably took care of the inside. And again, seller feedback. You're going to know if you have some weird, issues from the seller. You kind of see it in the feedback. Or if you're at a store that doesn't have a good reputation or a good return policy. Steve Wright says, hey, for the edible jar. Yeah, since you enjoyed the Epiphone Firebird, how about a review of a Epiphone Flying V or Explorer? Yeah, I would like to put that on the list of things to do. For sure. Maybe in September. That might be a good guitar to do for September and have September. I can tell Shauna and see if we can get something like that set up for a video. So there you go. It says, Phil, love the podcast. First time catching this live show. I have a Strat with a 920D loaded pickguard. The volume goes completely off when I hit 4 or less of the common. Thanks. So the volume goes completely off when you, I don't know. I have no idea what 4 or less of the common is, but I can tell you what causes most of those problems if you're going to have a short. First of all, sometimes the couple things you want to do is go through, and if you can take the pick guard off and look at it, you want to make sure that nothing's moving. Everything needs to stay very still. And then, and then you can see if anything's touching because it's going to short out. Sometimes they're notoriously known, not 920D, but components are known for shorting out when the potentiometers, when you turn them, they literally they're just compressed too tight. So sometimes if you just loosen the nut on the volume knob, that will immediately fix the problem. You'll just notice it. You don't have to have it loose. You just need to loosen it. Sometimes cranking them down is really destructive for them. So I would definitely check that, especially since when we're talking about stuff that doesn't work, well, then you know how you have to test each thing. But we're talking about intermittent, right? Intermittently going out when you touch something or doing something. So it's obviously a ground issue because that's what's causing it to basically short out. So you just want to make sure that all your grounds are secure and they're not accidentally touching other things. If the if the cavity is shielded, that shielding could essentially be the problem too. The potentiometer turns a little bit and touches the sidewall, like one of the posts on the potentiometer touches the sidewall of the cavity, and the sidewall is shielding, which is essentially just like a wire because it can conduct electricity too, and it shorts out. So again, just go through, tighten everything out, but tighten everything up and make sure it's neat, but also on the volume pot, loosen it up a little bit and see if that helps too. All those are the first steps to diagnosing that problem. And then if that all looks good, you might have a bad potentiometer because that is very common too. Bad potentiometers are really bad. Richard Clark says, hey, he's live. He's watching live too. That's great. I appreciate that, Richard. Okay, so ready? So Susan says, I pick the box. All right, Susan. This is the box. Lift it straight up. There's my name. There's the question mark. So this week I did a video. So let me explain the story on this. I did a video of I started doing a series called My 10 Favorite Pedals, and in my 10 favorite pedals is called the Enhancifier. It's an amazing pedal. In that video, I said that it was amazing, but it's a little large, and of course it's $400, and the people at Enhancifier sent me the new version that they made based on feedback from videos like mine, and from your comment sections, where they made it slightly smaller and slightly less. And, hey, it's only a little smaller, but hey, I understand. It's like, it saves about 1.5 inches on the side, and that's good. But it's less money, which is good. So I don't need 2 enhancifiers. And then I thought this would be fun, one, to do something fun like this, but also two, like, I always feel like, you never know when YouTubers are like, like, oh, I like the new one better. You're like, oh, you like the new one better? The one that the company wants everybody to sell? So the question is this. I own both those enhancifier pedals. Those are mine to keep forever and ever and ever and all the time. So when I told you in the video, at the end of that video, that I thought the new one, which is, by the way, less expensive, so it's almost half the price, almost, is my favorite. The question is, how do you know I'm telling the truth? Well, Susan, you know I'm telling the truth because I'm giving you my original enhancifier pedal. So this, with all the original documentation and bubble wrap and everything, it's got the box, isn't that the thing? All the original paperwork and everything. It'll come with some Know Your stickers and picks. The good thing, though, is with your trade, if you don't like this, you can always, I'm sure you could trade it to anyone for a Nichols 1966 pedal. So you are getting this beautiful $400 used in, this is the one from the video. This is actually my personal one. Not anymore, it's yours now. We traded. This is a good trade. Good trade, right? So anyways, that's what you picked. And I thought this would be fun because my issue was I thought, hey, what am I going to do with 2 enhancifier pedals? And I'm like, oh, I could sell the first one. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And I go, I don't know. And then I thought, well, why don't I do it for the giveaway? And I go, well, how does that work? Because like people win a $200 pedal and then somebody randomly just wins a $400 pedal for no reason. So I thought, well, what if we make it live and then we put them on the spot to pick? They have a chance to win something lesser, more. You won more, so you now have a $400 enhancifier pedal. That's what you won. So, so that's. I'm thinking you came out. I think I might have came out ahead. There you go. If for some reason you don't like it, I'll trade you back. But I think this is the way to go. I honestly. But there you go. So congratulations. Now with Adam, I don't know if you're watching live and you're just slower, but I didn't see a message from you. But if you're still here live and you're talking to me for the show, maybe I'll throw in something extra with your pedal for playing the game. So there you go. And we'll do more of this. Like I said, I wanted this to be fun. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be more than just, buy some Know Your Gear shirts and maybe you win a pedal or something or a set of pickups and stuff. I wanted to keep it fun. I thought this was fun. So it is good. So there you go. And like I said, love the pedal. Obviously. And I really think that, to be honest, so I really think the new one sounds exactly like the old one. I couldn't really deduct a difference in the two. So I thought, the new one's fine. It saves an inch on the pedal board, which is something, right? This pedal, Susan, if you plug this in, just this into your amplifier, you will be it's magic. It's just, like I said, there you go. Can I share one funny story with you guys? Can I share this with you? I never do this. As you guys know, I never pick the comments and talk about comment sections and stuff. But this I have to show you because I just loved it so much. Because I didn't understand the comment, but I loved it. So I'm going to pull it up right now. Then we'll go to the next question. This is on the video on the enhancifier this week. This happened, which made me kind of chuckle a little bit because I didn't actually know what was going to happen, right? I didn't know. So, okay. So let me mute that. There's me. All right. I pinned the question because YouTube says you should pin questions now, I guess, to be successful. I don't know. Oh, there it is. This is kind of funny. I haven't seen. All right, so here's what made me kind of chuckle. Let's share in the website. All right, so this is on the enhancifier pedal video, which cool. And then this guy, by the way, he's not trolling, nothing bad. Okay, I just didn't know the answer, so I wanted to be helpful, and then I saw the answer, and it kind of blew my mind. He says, all the secret sauce lingo aside, a bit of digging revealed that this effect is at its core a compressor, which it basically is like a studio compressor preamp boost thing. It says in the style of this, whatever this is, 1176, which I know is a very expensive thing. It's like crazy money. Or this Teletronics LA2A. He says, I'm not saying it's not a great pedal. Again, this is not a trolling comment. It's very logically put out. Great. He says, but let's not call a duck a unicorn. Nothing against Phil here. But I just have little patience for companies who put the shroud of mystery over their effects, basically. And I was like, oh, that's a great comment. So I go, I'm going to respond to his comment because I'm like, oh, cool. But first, I want to look at what these things are. I did them in the first video. So I said, thank you for posting. Yes, I mentioned if you watch in the first video that I talked about what they're based on, which is I knew it was these two units, but I don't know much about them. I knew that back in the day were expensive. But I looked at and it says it is based on what you said. It says, which you can get from Sweetwater. And then I clicked on Sweetwater. I made the link because I clicked on Sweetwater. The thing's $6,000. So I was responding to him with, yeah, I understand. I don't like the unicorn talk, as you guys know, right? I think pickups aren't magic, they're math. I was like, I like where this guy's going. Yeah, he's like, it's a good pedal, but, let's not make it sound like it's something better than it is. And then I was like, wait a minute. You're saying the company is making it sound like it's something cool because it's a $300 pedal mimicking a $6,000 unit. I'm like, that sounds like a good deal. So I just got it. That was funny. But anyways, I really like the pedal. That's basically what I want to say. I like the pedal. It's expensive. I agree with everybody. You can find, what's great about gear today, as you know, is that's the whole point of why I do all kinds of products. You can find something in your price range that sounds like an enhancifier, or you can buy an enhancifier. You can sound something that sounds like, plays like a Gibson Les Paul, or you can buy a Gibson Les Paul. It's the same thing, right? There's no wrong answers. So, all right. You know what's great now is now that the box is out of the way, I can get my cup of water because I had to put the box on my cup of water. So, all right. Yeah, see, Susan just got a $6,000 pedal, repackaged. Okay, that's cool. Like I said, I'm really excited for you, Susan. You really, really am. It's really cool. All right, and I'm excited for you guys. Thank you guys for keep posting stuff. See, that's why I want you guys to have. We're gonna have fun for this now and the rest of the year. Okay, we need to button up some questions. Let's go to Amanda because Amanda's been grabbing you guys' questions. She grabbed one from Richard who says, "Hey Phil, instead of jumping channels on my 5E3, can I run the jumper to another amp input?" Yeah, maybe. I don't know the answer. I was trying to throw a guess. I don't want to guess, Richard. I don't know. My guess would be, yeah, it's not powered out. It's just a preamp of signal. That's what you're doing. You're taking the input signal of your guitar and you're just jumping it over. So essentially, you can just jump it to something else. It's not a clean signal out. I think that's the whole point, is it kind of juices the signal up, I think. I don't know. Maybe it is the same clean signal. I don't know. I've never really tried it. So I'm going to say I feel like you could do it and not blow up your amp and you'd be fine. But I don't know what the upside is. Sean says, "Hey Phil, how do you order a custom G&L? Do you have to go through a dealer?" I believe so. I don't think they sell direct. So I've never had a custom G&L. So I don't know. I bought all the G&Ls I bought off Reverb, off just dealers on Reverb, and then the one they made me, which is the green one. So I never did a custom one because I think I've never wanted anything more than what they would offer on most of their standard stuff. Although somebody says they've really restricted what they'll offer on their production lines now, but I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's go the other way. Okay. This is from Yardbird68. Says, "Phil, I have been eyeing a PRS SE Hollowbody 2. How close is the PRS tonally compared to a semi-hollow 330?" They're not even the same. A 335 Gibson to me sounds like a Les Paul. Like, that's what it sounds like. I have a 335. I have a Les Paul. If I plug them both in, yeah, I mean, it's because it's semi-hollow. Semi-hollows reverberate differently, especially if the amp's cranked, but in a bedroom, you're not going to get that. On stage, I think a 335's got some magic stuff happening, with the amp and the sound frequencies and the shaking and the things happening. But in the bedroom, it's like, it's just a Les Paul that vibrates more against your chest. It's really cool. But I really love the S335, but I don't really see it tonally different than my Les Paul. And same with the Epiphone models. The Hollowbody 2 Paul Reed Smith guitar, SE, is more like a hollow body guitar and less like just a chambered or semi-hollow electric guitar. So they're totally different. But also keep in mind, it's the PRS versus Gibson sound difference. It's a massive difference, or even PRS versus Epiphone. They're just different to me. I don't know specifically. I definitely don't have a favorite of the two. Does that make sense? So, okay. Okay, let me grab something else. I'm sorry, some of you guys. I love some questions. I'm like, I have no idea what this question's about. Okay. And I think I want to do one or two more and then before we go. RPAD TV video says you can order G&L customs from select dealers. That would make sense to me. I would imagine that it's a layered thing. In other words, if the dealer's premium enough, they can do a custom G&L. When we had a store, G&L didn't do customs. That was something new. I think they added customs the year I did the factory tour. So I think it was 2018. I think that sounds right. That's what I remember them saying, because I remember they were still finishing up the shop. They, Okay, hold on. A lot of guys talking about the game show stuff. Oh, Brian says he can't. His OCD can't handle. You know, it's funny. So Brian's saying his OCD can't handle that. There's a blank spot on the wall right there. So I'm pointing at an empty guitar hanger. You know what, Brian? What I can't handle today on the show is I can't remember what was there. When the show started, I looked up. In fact, if you go to the beginning of the show, you'll see at some point I'm looking at the camera weird, or I'm looking at the screen I'm looking at weird. That's because I'm like, where did that go? What was there? The telly, I didn't pull it from there. I pulled it from the rack here. I'm like, what was there? And why did I take it down? So I have no idea what was there and why I took it down. I have no idea why there's an empty spot or where it is. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. So that's an empty spot. I have no idea why it's empty. So, all right. And then we'll end with Randy. Randy says, hey, Phil, is a multi-band bass compressor better than a regular compressor? I've played with all kinds of compressors, for bass especially. The idea of the multi-band compressor, is that you're supposed to get tighter and cleaner, right? Because I don't notice, because here's why I don't notice. And I feel like I hate these sometimes because I don't have a great answer for you, but let me just tell you what I focus on when I focus on compression for bass. All I'm really trying to do is when I'm slapping and popping on the bass, I'm trying to make it to where the low thumps don't overtake the high clicks. Does it make sense? And I have the guitar here so I can do it on the guitar. When you do it on the guitar, same thing as the bass. So when you do that on the bass, that low thump can get so boomy that when you snap, it's like just the snap, the note's gone. So I like the compressor just to kind of push down. So a limiter works well for me too, by the way. I'll use a limiter sometimes as well. But that's all I use compression for. I'm not using it to enhance the overall sound of the bass. I'm not really trying to make it, studio perfect when it comes to bass sound. I just really want the low frequencies to be under control. So that's all. So I've never really used a lot of those type of compressors. I had a pedal version that was really nice, but I've never had like a rack unit of that. Okay. All right. That was a good show. I had fun. I think the show, I hope you guys had fun. I'm glad you guys all came and hung out. I feel like the show is going to be a little bit more fun than normal, and I feel like it was fun. Congratulations to Susan on her enhanced fire. Congratulations on Adam on his Nichols 1966 pedal. If you won something from us and you have not heard from us, please email me at askknowyourgear, or us, because it's going to go to us, at askknowyourgear@gmail.com. I didn't know until yesterday or Wednesday, Shauna said that somebody's email got kicked back. Like we emailed and it says this email can't receive emails. I'm like, okay. So just make sure. So if you saw your name picked or you saw your picture here and you're not, we didn't say, hey, here's how you get your pedal, or we didn't email you or anything, please just email us. Like I literally, think of this like a family, okay? This isn't like a professional business here, okay? There's no team to kind of redundantly check things. So please, you're not insulting me in any way. If you're like, hey, Phil, I haven't heard from you. I'm like, okay, I'm on it. Think about this. It took me 2 weeks to respond today to a viewer who just basically wanted to give us a gift certificate to buy a guitar, to do a video and give away on the channel, which I did. I bought the guitar this morning. It'll be here Wednesday. We'll be doing a video and a giveaway with that guitar. There's a viewer did that. Thank you so much. Think about this. It took us a week to 2 weeks to see that email, to find it, because you're just sorting through all stuff. So please don't ever don't worry about it. Like I said, if you saw me show your picture and you get a prize, please make sure that you're getting your prize. I'll try to go back over them again if we're not getting responses. Most everybody though I've sent a message has got a response and either got their pedals already or getting their stuff. But I don't want the stuff stacking up as a problem, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I don't want in 5 months, like I owe 12 things still to people. Like I'd really like to, each week as we do give more giveaways, we've gotten rid of the first sets and stuff. It just keeps us producing. So that's it. That's it. I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have an amazing weekend. Play some guitar. My birthday guitar video will be coming. The Eastman guitar video will be coming. Some other fun stuff will be coming. And on that note, I just want to thank you guys for your time and say, know your gear. And thank you.
Today's episode of the Know Your Gear podcast is brought to you by Patreon members, channel members, and viewers who like and subscribe. Thank you for making this possible. The Know